You are listening to the Business Casual Podcast, and I'm your host, Carissa, from CarissaLene.com. What's up, wonderful people? It's Carissa here, of course, and I want to chat with you about this one thing that I am doing that actually is done by the time this podcast is live. But I'm wanting to do this podcast now before it's live, so I can share any results that I do get later after it's been live and active for a while. Okay, so this one thing is definitely not new. It's something that's been talked about in great detail, and it kind of originated. Well, I saw it originate from Bryan Harris from Videofruit. I adore all things Bryan Harris because he is just, his whole blog is just so resourceful and useful, and I know it has helped me and gave me so many ideas, and so I am definitely like him. It's like to experiment with things and test out new strategies and things. But what I don't do as well as him is report back with the case studies and the how-tos and step-by-steps. So I definitely appreciate him for doing that for us. So Bryan has this, if you go to his website, videofruit.com, he actually has an upside down homepage, which again is not a new concept, but I actually started to do this last year. It's been a while, actually. Last year, 2016, I started to work on this in like August or September. I can't remember exactly, but I didn't ever press play on it because I was just too busy in my own head and doing a bunch of other things, right? So I always had the page like in the background, like inactive pretty much in my Squarespace website. And so I was like, okay, for real, I'm going to get this done by January of 2017. And so that was one of my goals. But anywho, so this has always been an idea or, thing that I was going to do. And then after I read through his stuff, I even saw a couple other people, of course, because it's not no secret, right? I looked at a couple other people's websites that were like, and I was like, oh yeah, I kind of like this format, right? I like the whole theory behind it. I like exactly how it's planned. So if you haven't heard of it, you can easily just Google upside down homepage and it should pop up, right? But the idea is that you want to create like a path, a journey kind of for your people that lands on your website. And you want to start that by giving them a huge call to action with preferably like your face, somewhere up there. Because right at that time, they recognize who you are. Even if they don't know you, they at least see your face and they can now recognize you elsewhere on social media and all kinds of things, right? So have that image there with the nice, bold call to action. And that call to action should definitely be something that is a immediate pain for the people that will come to your website. So if, based on like maybe your most popular blogs or your most popular podcast or what your audience is looking for, then that would be like your call to action there, right? And then below that, you can have some social proof. You can use testimonials. You can use any blogs or podcasts or whomever, wherever you've been featured at. You can use that space right under that call to action area to show off any good stuff that you've been doing. I use a testimonial instead of like any feature type stuff. But maybe I'll change that later. But I definitely like the testimonial there, so that's what I used. Okay, and then below that is basically where you give your audience like three options as to what is basically your three main categories for your business. So for me, it's I separated my audience have three options. They can click on where they need me to help them with attracting more readers. So more readers, it's kind of more than readers. It's more readers, more viewers, more listeners, whatever, right? The second one is to engage more traffic. And then the last one is to convert more subscribers, right? So each one of those focuses on different things that is kind of like an evolution to, all of my services and my products and all that good stuff, right? So they all kind of, like if someone had to start from the beginning and just work themselves up, it just works out that way, right? It kind of works out in a nice flow. So for you do the same. Kind of think of three main areas, three main categories, three main paths your audience can take, and use that to create that for your homepage, right? And so under that part is a blog post in a sense, right? It's not a real lengthy one at all. It's really a really straightforward one that really shows off some of your expertise. It shows off some of your some of your results, and also it gives them another call to action, right? So this one is basically, of course, like I said, showing you off a little bit, showing off what you know and your knowledge, and it has some things in there, like it basically he has a system that is you're going to give, share with them the problem, you're going to agitate the problem, and then give them the solution. So the solution is, of course, in the call to action. So those are that's like the basic concept of the blog post. But I mean, he goes in a lot more details in his blog post about the upside down homepage. So I would definitely recommend you giving that a read. And then, of course, that leads to a call to action. And then at the bottom of that, he has his navigation. So nowhere else on his homepage is the navigation besides at the bottom of the page. And this is just to make sure that when your people come to your website, they only have one thing that they can do, and that is to opt in. That is to, immediately go ahead and become a subscriber, to increase your subscribers, to get them engaged quickly and not get them distracted by all the other things, right? Now, I necessarily don't have the navigation all the way at the bottom. I do have navigation at the top. It's pretty minimal, but I didn't change that out because I would probably have to do some code with Squarespace. And let me tell you, I ain't trying to do all that right now. So, but I definitely would try that out, though. If I ever get to that point, I definitely would. That's the basics of it. I do have a couple other things added on there, a little extra, like another opt-in opportunity. I also have where I have a couple of my products and membership site where they can access that on their page. So that's after the blog post or whatnot. But that's basically the setup, and I love the flow of it. I think it's going to do very well. Again, it's not live right now, but by the time this comes out, it will be live, so I can report back probably later, at the end of the quarter or something, and let you know how it goes for me. But you should try it out for yourself too, and then we can all kind of just have a good chat about it. But I wanted to share that strategy with you and see if maybe that little simple breakdown that I kind of shared can give you an idea of how you can incorporate it on your website for yourself. Or try it out, if you can definitely, like, maybe even A/B test the homepage. Basically take the homepage, do the exact same thing, but maybe change out something. So change out maybe the above the fold call to action, or change out the blog post, or change out, those 3 paths you're going to take them on. Don't change out all that at one time. You're going to change out one at a time, like one piece of, each page at a time. That way you can kind of test it out and know which is working and which is not. If you can do that, that's fantastic as well. But again, I'm keeping it real simple. So you're going to try this out, see how it works. I'm going to report back to you to let you know. Test it out, try it out, let me know if you like it, and I'll be back to chat with you very soon, you guys. So that's it. That wraps up today's episode of the Business Casual Podcast. If you loved today's episode, I would so appreciate it if you go on over to iTunes and subscribe and leave a review and a comment to let everyone know how much you enjoyed today's episode and the podcast in general. If you would like to, please share this out with any of your friends on social media. You can always keep up to date with all things the Business Casual Podcast on thebusinesscasualpodcast.com. And if you want to join a fabulous group of new and inspiring business owners, then I highly recommend you join us inside of the Launchers Lounge on Facebook, simply by going to thebusinesscasualpodcast.com/community, and I'll meet you there. Don't forget, if you're on Stitcher, rate and review us there. We are hanging out on Stitcher as well. And of course, if you want to be a guest on the show, or if you just want to get your question answered, go to thebusinesscasualpodcast.com/ask, and I will answer your question live on the show. And that's all for today. I'll see you on the next episode of the Business Casual Podcast. Bye, you guys.